Hi everyone, welcome to China Freedom File. Today I want to focus on the Tiananmen Square students' movement and its spiritual implications. As many of you had witnessed, 31 years ago, at Tiananmen Square, in the center of Beijing, the capital city of China, there had been a students' movement, a historical event was unfolding. What happened was when millions of Chinese students took to the streets, demanding political reform, freedom, more democracy, less corruption, and protection of human rights. In the early morning of June 4th, exactly 31 years ago, the Chinese Communist Party and its hardliners ordered the military tanks with machine guns start indiscriminately killing and murdering. Thousands of Chinese students and innocent citizens were killed at that square. If you know a little bit Chinese, the three letters of Chinese Tiananmen literally means the gate of heavenly peace. Overnight, from the late night of June 3rd to early morning of June 4th, 1989, the gate of heavenly peace became a gate of hell, full of fire, machine guns, and killings. And many of my friends and fellow students were smashed and killed. At that time, I was a junior student in the college in the province of Shandong province in southeast of Beijing. When the students' movement started in Beijing, I just could not sit still in the classroom anymore. I was impacted by the then Soviet Union leader, the last party secretary of USSR, Mr. Gorbachev. His reform and opening policy really inspired me as a fellow humanist or half communist, a member in the school. So with the corruptions continuing increasing in the Chinese Communist Party, with the Communist Party leaders' refusal to engage even a little bit political reform, with less democratic infrastructure in the Chinese society, and the party was controlling everything. So among the younger students like me, we really want to see a China that can grow stronger and peaceful, but with real reform, especially political reform. So when the former party secretary, Hu Yaobang, died, which triggered the students' movement, the students from all over China burst out from very deep sorrow and mourning, and then angry toward the Chinese Communist Party's slow pace of reform. As one of the students leaders in my university, at that time, I was actually the vice president of the official students' union in the English department. With a group of fellow like-minded students, we said, enough is enough. We should raise up our voice. We should let the Communist Party know that we demand further reform, more human rights, more democratic reforms. That's why I call for the first citywide demonstration in my city, where the university is located in Shandong province. So when hundreds of thousands of students and professors followed me, walk along the street in that city, we did feel initially a wind of change was coming. And then toward the end of May, I felt just to sit and demonstrate in my own city is not enough. So we need to go to Beijing to add our support to the Beijing students, leaders, and hundreds of thousands of students camping there and engaging hunger strike. Some got fainted, some lost their consciousness, some really suffered irreparable damage. So that's why a later day of May 1989, I myself got about a dozen or so of other friends from my campus, of course, including my then girlfriend. Later in the years, Heidi, she became my wife, my beloved wife, a fellow faithful comrade at the time, battling for the same ideal that I was fighting for. So we went to the Tiananmen Square, witnessing, thousands of students were still camping in the Tiananmen Square. And we distribute flyers, we write down posters, we witness and install the goddess of democracy in the Tiananmen Square. And we also involved in the establishing and witnessing the independent autonomous unions in the west part of Tiananmen Square. And I think it's perhaps, let's see, I think it's May 28th, a few days before the massacre happened. I remembered that the students, leaders in the Tiananmen Square announced there will be a global march by the international community for the support of Tiananmen students' movement. Because at that time, after May 27th, the kind of atmosphere was already very tight. Every evening, we could hear from the loudspeaker at the Tiananmen Square said the Chinese troops were marching on from the corner of this part of the street, that part of the city, and the many students were called to go and to have a sit-in in front of the military trucks, try to block the soldiers to coming in. So I participated that global walk. I think we walked at least 5 hours in the third ring of the Beijing city with millions of students and citizens across every kind of sectors of society. You're talking about workers, you're talking about university professors, we're talking about the many government officials, and we're talking about young and old. We're talking about men, women. We're talking about academics and scientists, from even religious people, and so I was very touched during our that more than 5 hours of protest.